Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another beautiful day. And today I am talking about a question that everybody has probably asked in their life. Every child, and maybe even adults, are looked at by curious other already fully functional adults, and they look at that undeveloped person and they say, hey, what the fuck do you want to be when you grow up? As if children are ready to make decisions that reflect the next 70 years of their life. I'm just gonna be this, and that's I got it all figured out. And even if they did know what they wanted to be, odds are by the time they grow up that's gonna change, and odds are their opportunity and where they live and all of those things are going to completely change whatever the fuck they wanted to be when they grew up. If you want to be an astronaut, but if you live in bumfuck nowhere, and smartest person in your town has an IQ of 90, you're probably and then you don't have enough funds to get out of that shitty place. You're probably just fucking fucked. You're probably not. At least by the time it takes you to do something about that, you're not going to be able to become an astronaut. So there went your childhood dream. But anyway, I'm going to specifically talk about what I wanted to be when I grew up and the different jobs that came to mind growing up. Currently, I am a cook, and that is a job I never thought I would have. It is a job I never thought I would want, but it's turned out all right for me. And it's, I'm making pretty good money. All things considered. And I didn't go to culinary school. I didn't do any of that shit. I didn't even go to culinary class in high school. I just got my last job and stuck with that for 3 years. So that's 3 years of experience, and I was able to use that to get a real job with benefits and all that type of shit. But anyway, talking about what I wanted to be when I grew up. So as a kid, I mentioned in a previous podcast that there was a game, because I specifically remember this little activity they made us do as a kid where we had to make a story or make some kind of thing based upon, it was some kind of project based upon what we wanted to be when we grew up. And I remember I wanted to be a farmer, and the reason for that was, as a kid, there's a game called Harvest Moon. And I said this on a previous podcast. Me and my brother were obsessed with Harvest Moon to the point where we were we live in bumfuck nowhere. There's probably some farms around here. We can become farmers. And obviously we had no idea what actual farming meant. We just thought it would be like Harvest Moon. People are just gonna hand us a fucking farm, and they're gonna hand us a bunch of fucking animals, and we're just gonna have to, have a low amount of, just milk your cow every morning and you're good. You're good. And then just go around town and meet the town folk and just have a good old day. That's no. If I had any idea what actual farming entailed, I would not have even made that project. I think it was briefly after that I was okay, farming probably fucking sucks. But for whatever reason, as a kid, that was something that was in my mind. And I remember for most of my life, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I still don't. If it was an easy option, if it was something really easy that was just, it's this, and it was just something that's not easily attainable, but something that's plausible for me and my situation. I don't have to go to years and years of college for it. I don't have to go in depth to get my degree. And something that the job market is there's a demand for it, because there's no job security for any job with every, let's say you work in a cable company, in 10 years cable's gonna be gone, so fuck you becoming this master cable company person. I know I have a friend who works for Comcast, so I know and he makes really good money, so I'm not discrediting that. I was just using that as a, let's say you work your ass off and you become like this editor-in-chief for a magazine thing. Oh, well, magazines aren't cool anymore, so magazines go away, and it's like, oh, well, I know you can probably use a degree for whatever you got for your magazine. You can probably use that elsewhere, but go with me, right? And I know, like, it's so hard. Like, I don't want this to become a college thing, but there's so many people I know who, like, will be like, oh, you need to go to college, but, like, the degrees they have or don't have don't reflect the jobs they got or the jobs that they currently have. Like, and I just hate, like, these hypocritical people. Like, anyway. But I do remember a time where I wanted to become a professional wrestler just because wrestling was so cool as a kid. And, you know, Minnesota, where I grew up, you know, has some pretty good wrestling schools. Where I grow up now, in North Carolina, where I live now in North Carolina, I know, like, we've had Ric Flair and the Hardy Boys and a bunch of other people come out of here. We have some pretty good wrestling schools, like, from my very little knowledge. But becoming a wrestler is actually, like, extremely hard, and you have to do, like, even if you do make it big, you have to do all this travel. Wrestlers don't get paid at all. Like, they literally just destroy their bodies in an attempt to, like, entertain, like, a couple dozen people. And if you go to Ring of Honor or something, like, huge like that, then it's still not, like, a super rich career. And your odds of doing that aren't that great. And to do that, it takes years and years and years of training, unless you're extremely good and extremely lucky, because they want young guys. They want young guys because young dudes have longevity, and they want longevity in their careers. Like, when they picked up, like, John Cena and Batista, they picked them up pretty young, like, in their 20s, because they wanted them to be around for the next decade, right? Which, it's like, you got, like, a decade and a half of really good fucking wrestling, and after that, your body's done. Like, I know that's how it is for all sports careers, but in all honesty, like, I'm not athletic, and I'm not athletically inclined, and I don't, even though, like, I did, like, kind of put in some early work when I was doing backyard wrestling with my brother, like, it just, for whatever reason, like, I think that would be a fun kind of hobby. Like, if I ever, like, just have one wrestling match, like, if I ever met someone who like, could teach me, and then just, like, I have one official wrestling match, I think that's all I would need to really satisfy that desire. But anyway, I do remember another job I wanted to be was a teacher, which is probably, like, if I was to go after a degree, maybe that would be it, because that's one that actually will have demand for forever. But, like, every, like, cool idea, like, if I were to become a teacher, it's kind of like, because I would enjoy the aspect of, like, teaching young people, and I would enjoy the aspect of, like, kind of doing what I do here, like, today we're doing this, and have, like, organized, like, sessions, organized, like, ways to speak to, like, I wouldn't want to do with people in high school. I would probably want to deal with, like, 8th, 9th, 7th graders. That seems like a good age. But I wouldn't want to deal with younger than that, because I, like, don't want to deal with children all the time. But I do like the idea of, like, if I was to teach, like a dumb, like, an elective, not, like, I don't want to teach a core class. I'm never going to teach math. I'm never going to teach English. I'm never going to teach, even though I like English and I think it would be really cool, and I like history, but I'm never going to teach those things. I would like a cool elective class. And I would like, if I were to become a teacher, I would like to just be like, okay, let's spend 15 minutes on whatever the fuck the people are going to tell me to do, and the rest of the class we're going to do fun shit and learn about actual cool things. Like, I think, and we're just, like, I would love to kind of do what I do here. Like, let's, like, if I was to teach an English class, I would love to show people, like, short films, love to show people just, like, different mediums, and we could just dissect and analyze what that mediums would do together. And I would love to kind of just show, like, young people the ropes really kind of prepare them for the real world because other people weren't doing that. Like, everything that I lacked in high school, I would love to kind of be there because I had teachers who literally didn't give a fuck, hardly taught us at all, and then they would just show us movies, and then they would just like, I had teachers who did what I was talking about, just bullshit like the stuff they're trying to teach us. Be like, okay, read this book, here's a fucking piece of paper, you guys do it, I'm not fucking doing anything. I had a bunch of teachers who were like that, and they had jobs for years, they had tenures, they had all of these things that, like, qualified teachers get, and it's just like, what the fuck? Like, why do you get to have all these things? Like, you suck at your job. I would love to be that. And actually use, like, but instead of bullshitting for minutes on end, to actually do things. Like, I would love, like, because I had like, every cool idea I've had from a teacher. Like, I had one teacher who, like, you got to his class, like, and he's just playing music. And then he would just, like, kind of casually talk about the music. Like, oh, that was fucking dope. Like, literally, like, we'd just walk in, and he has, like, a cool song playing, and we'd be like, oh, what's that? He'd be like, oh, it's this. And then we'd learn about it for, like, 2 minutes. And it was like, oh, shit, like, I'm learning about music in a class that has nothing to do with music. Like, it was great. Even my music classes didn't do that. But yeah. And what, like, if you were to ask me what I want to be right now, it would be the two professions that I've been crafting. The two jobs that, like, are gonna be the hardest to get and will not pay me at all. I also, like, growing up, ever since I was writing fan art, writing all these novels, I wanted to be a writer. And to become a successful writer, you have to be able to tell publishers that you are going to be able to sell them a bunch of books for a bunch of money. Like most authors, it's like they get like a book or two, they struggle, manuscript after manuscript, edit after edit. It's like publication after publication. It's a lot of work, and I'm not the type of person who loves, like, I just want to write my fucking books and keep making them. Like, I'd rather just pay someone to edit them, but by the time I've paid them to edit the thing, I've probably, like, spent whatever I would make on the book, because books don't make money. And I would love to do that. I would love to become a writer. And obviously the other job I'm chasing is YouTube. I'm literally crafting that in front of you. And to become a YouTuber, really you only need like a couple, let's say a couple hundred dedicated fans. Let's say you had, how much do I make a month? Let's say you had 400 fans and you were able to get 2 of them to donate to you on Patreon a month. That's your career. Boom, done. Like, you're not making that much money. $800 a month is not like enough to, put in money for like a home and for children and all those things. But it's like a comfortable, like, single lifestyle. And if you have a partner who does make that much money, then you can kind of, get a good home, get a foundation, and maybe save up to own a home, own vehicles, and all these other things. So, if you guys, by the way, if you, like, I have a Patreon, if you guys want Good Morning Soul to become something that I do, like, daily, or for the end of time, or if you want me to, if you want more reviews, more just anything, like, if you, like, loved, like, one series I do, like, the reviews, I'm completely mixing those up. Creator on the Rise, I'm going to take to a new level. Soul music is always, like, a side thing that is always kind of growing. Like, and then there's, like, little projects I have, like webcam wrestling. I have so many projects, and all of them I feel like have potential to take off. It's just YouTube, like, as a whole is kind of going downhill. And I had monetization taken away from me very recently at the time I'm recording this. Like, in total I've made, like, let's say like $750 on YouTube. and that was mostly just coasting off of one video and like the 2 or 3 patrons I used to have who were just my friends. So all the money I've made, it doesn't even pay for my equipment that I've spent. Like my mixer, that's $200. Microphone, $100. I've bought like 3 of those. Cameras, bought 2 of those. This whole lighting setup, that's a lot of money. And so really I've spent, and that doesn't even, like, the amount of time I've spent on YouTube is really the real kicker. Like, just think about this podcast alone, which is like a 2-month project for me. Like, that's 365 thumbnails, 365 times I've uploaded the videos. It takes like 10-15 minutes to upload a video, and then the videos themselves, which are like, this one's 15 minutes, so times that by 365. And this is just one project, and I do a bunch of different projects. And my reviews used to take like 10 hours to edit. There's like 100 of those. You can really see the time I've put into YouTube. But anyway, I think that'll cover today's video. So if you were to ask me right now, what do you want to be when you grow up, even though I'm pretty much considered grown up by the society, I would love to be a writer and YouTuber. And if I was able to become a YouTuber, it'd be much easier to become a writer, and vice versa. But anyway, I would love to be John Green, is what I'm saying. Anyway, that's what I wanted to be when I grew up, and what I want to be now. Anyway, what do you guys want to be when you grow up? Are you still forming? Are you still growing up? What do you want to be right now? Do you hate your current job? Do you just go into work like, fuck this place? But anyway, that was today's podcast. I'll see you tomorrow with another episode of Good Morning Soul. And with that, I leave you.